Hello everyone, welcome to Challenge to Build. And as far as what I'm working on at the moment, I'm still working on the dually project. It's kind of been at a lull this past week. I had a little issue with my powder coat. I was originally quoted 7 to 10 days, and now 7 to 10 days turns into 14 to 20. So I was supposed to have my parts yesterday, and I don't have them. So I am going to start messing with the Airlift installation as far as the air management. I'm going to install the manifold system up underneath the truck and start running the wires, also start messing with some airlines. So I'm going to take you under the truck and I'm going to show you my plan for where I'm going to mount the manifold system and how I'm going to go about it. Alright, so here is the manifold that comes with the kit, and they recommend that you mount this inside the vehicle, and unfortunately I am not going to do that, but I'm going to go do my best to keep it out of the elements as best as possible. I'm going to mount it up underneath the cab in this area here, and then this way here the manifold system is going to be centrally located between the front and the rear bags. Not that there's going to be much of a delay in switching with pressures going back and forth, but at least it kind of equalizes everything. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this right in this location here, and the way that I'm going to go about doing that is in the process now of cutting spacers off of the frame. So I'm going to space it out about 1.5 inches, which makes me clear these hard lines, and I'm going to bolt them from the back side so it can be removable. And I'm going to mount this on a piece of 1/8 inch plate, and then I'm going to have a cover box made up that will cover this, and I can bolt it to the 1/8 inch plate and keep it as out of the elements as possible. It'll still breathe a little bit. I'm going to make it bigger than the actual manifold, so that way there's airspace all around it. I can't assume that it gets too hot with the constant airflow through it as far as the solenoids, but I'm going to try to seal it up as best as I can to keep all the moisture and water out of it that I can do in this area. I'll put seals on it and then bolt the cover plate on it so that way it's protected. And then this way here, in this location here, I can run my airlines up along the frame line, or yeah, frame rails up against these lines. Same thing with going back to the rear of the frame. So that's kind of what I'm up against right now. I was planning on waiting to do any of this work until I got the truck together, but obviously with some of the problems that I ran into that we just talked about earlier, this is the work that I have, so I'm going to accomplish it and go from there. So that's the plan. I'm going to bring you guys back up on top and get things set up to where I can do some work. So I got lucky, even though it's overkill. If you've been following along at any level, you know that I build overkill. But in this case, this is just what I have laying around, and it worked out perfect. This is a piece of 3/4 solid round bar. Not solid round bar. DOM tubing that I picked up. And I can thread this with a 7/16 tap perfectly. So I don't even have to drill it. So I'm going to cut my spacers out of this, tap the spacers, and then weld the spacers onto the 1/8 inch plate that I'm going to mount up under the frame rail like we just discussed. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these and then tap them. I was using the fence for a stop. I set the saw up so I could cut the same piece over and over again. So I slid the round tube into it. I must have put it up too tight, so when I came down with the saw, it bound up and caught it and threw it against the saw. But it'll still work. So here's kind of how the adapter works out. I already kind of experimented with threading the one end, so I cut it. So it's 1.5 inches threaded for a 7/16 bolt, and then I'm going to weld this to the backside of the 1/8 inch plate. This way here I'll drill the holes, put this inside the frame rail, and then run the bolt through the frame into the spacer, and it'll mount the plate for the manifold. And then what I'm going to do is cut probably 1/4 inch rubber, and then mount the manifold on some 1/4 inch rubber to kind of just help isolate with some vibrations, and then make a cover plate probably for it. So this is going to be the plate that the air manifold gets mounted to. These are the spacers that I just cut and threaded. So the plan is I'm going to weld these onto the back side of the plate and then drill holes through the frame and then run the bolts through and then bolt this to the inside of the frame rail. And then the air manifold will mount to here, and then I'll make a cover box to be able to run some bolts into the 1/8 inch plate. So this way here everything's covered and protected. So that is the extent of what I'm up to. That is how I'm going to end today's live stream. So it is Labor Day weekend. So for those of you taking some time to celebrate Labor Day weekend, be safe, drink responsibly, have a good time. And this has been Challenge to Build. You can see a replay of the live stream on YouTube. And then as always, thank you for watching, and look forward to the continued growth of Challenge to Build. So with that, get out there and go challenge your build. My name is Paul Michael, and I will see everybody in an upcoming live stream and or video. See you guys later.